Brilliance Audio presents 50 Top Tools for Coaching, 3rd edition, a complete toolkit for developing and empowering people, by Gillian Jones and Gorell, performed by Esther Wayne. I have been an executive coach for over 15 years, and as my coaching assignments increased and I took responsibility for developing the coaching side of the business, I started to assess and employ coaches. In the training part of our business, we took great pride in the way that we would assess the quality of trainers and the processes we asked them to work to. So I wanted to apply the same rigor to the coaching side of the business. I decided to produce a toolkit that could be used by our internal coaches. I wanted them all to provide the best possible service to clients, and therefore the importance of sharing knowledge and experience could not be overlooked. However, time, as always, got the better of me, and the book, after a fast and encouraging start, remained in a box in my study waiting for a quiet moment when I could finish it. But I was so busy actually working with organisations, I just wasn't finding the time to do it. And that was when my fellow directors suggested Ro. She had been one of our trusted associates for many years, and was also specialising in the field of coaching. We met and found a real synergy in what we were working on, what we valued, and what was going on in the coaching world. I mentioned the toolkit to Ro, and she got very excited about the concept. Further conversations with clients ensued, in which they told me that they could not find a book of tools. There were many publications around that had great information, philosophies, and included some tools, but nothing pure that they could just dip into before a coaching session, enabling them to go in armed with something relevant and useful. I tentatively showed them my rough draft, and once again there was real interest. It needed a fair bit of work to get it to market. Some tools were unfinished, and there were some glaring gaps in certain sections, but with Ro's tenacity and orderly mind it quickly came together. In 2011, Kogan Page asked us to deliver a 2nd edition, so we did some updating and tidying up. When, in December 2014, they discussed a 3rd edition, we decided it was time for some new materials. We already had some extra tools we wanted to include, but we also asked some of our great coaches if they had anything they wanted to contribute, and they didn't disappoint us. So we are delighted to present our 3rd edition, complete with additional contributions, and hope that you enjoy using the tools. In the beginning. Coaching has been a passion of mine since the very first time I inadvertently fell into a coaching conversation. At that time, over 15 years ago, coaching was not a particularly hot topic. In those days, people didn't fully realise the power and potential that coaching had for getting the best out of people, and it was to be a few years before the subject really gained momentum. My early coaching sessions were probably little more than listening and questioning sessions, and, if I'm honest, far more directive than I would ever like to see in a coaching session today. But there was little material around to help to develop coaching skills, and what material there was lent towards the philosophy of coaching rather than its practice. I embraced the basic coaching models enthusiastically. Learning the skill of not leading and directing the person I was coaching opened up such a wide field that I decided to step up my search for coaching models. At this time, the training consultancy I had set up was beginning to get some coaching requests. Clients were slowly waking up to the power of one-to-one sessions with people, and were keen to find coaches who could give individual support to employees. The clients knew as little as I did in terms of how much to charge for coaching, how long sessions should be, and what sort of processes should be used to quality control the assignments. But what they did know was that coaching worked better than many of their other development interventions. The results were phenomenal. Even with my minimum knowledge and restricted toolkit, clients still achieved amazing outcomes. Problems were resolved, people were having crucial conversations with their managers, colleagues, and direct reports. Presentations were being polished, and people reported back huge increases in confidence. I was quite shaken by the results at the time. How could something so simple be so powerful? You simply sat in a room, listened to the person speaking, asked insightful questions, and suddenly the person had this immense clarity, as if light bulbs were truly being switched on in the brain.